Welcome to this tutorial video. The goal of this video is to show you how to set up your entity settings. Take note that the entity settings are set per entity to customize the program to the specific needs of the practice. Before making any changes, always ensure that you are logged into the correct entity if applicable. Under the Entity Settings tab, click on the Entity Settings panel to expand it. Choose from the drop-down the default invoice posting action for the entity. Post Only will only post the invoice as a transaction in the system and not send the data to the medical aid. Post and Switch will post the invoice as a transaction in the system and send the data via the switch, but with no immediate response from the medical aid. Post Await Response will post the invoice as a transaction in the system and send the data via the switch and will give an immediate response from the medical aid if the medical aid is able to send real-time responses. Next is the Activate MyGC SyncVite. This setting requires the Ground Central Settings section to be completed within the Diary Settings tab as stated in the parentheses. If this setting is ticked, a SyncVite with a reminder of the patient's booking will automatically be emailed to the patient after the booking is saved in the diary. The Stock Control setting is still in development. We can move on to the next setting. The Select Default Doctor will set a default doctor for the specific entity if there are more than one doctor. Please take note that this setting can be overwritten by the Default Treating Doctor setting under the User Entity and Diary Settings tabs. Simply start typing the doctor's name and suggestions of added treating doctors on the system will appear. Select the correct doctor. The Select Default Service Center will set a default service center where the patients are treated. Please take note that this setting can be overwritten by the Default Treating Doctor setting under the User Entity and Diary Settings tabs. Simply select the correct service center from the drop-down. If the Activate Dentist Screen setting is ticked, the dentist screen and dental charts will be activated. Always tick the Warn on Duplicate Data Save setting in order to prevent duplicate debtors to be opened on the system. The Use Cash Register per User setting will enable a cash register session per user on the same entity. For more information about the cash register, please refer to the user manual link listed in the video's description. If the practice dispense from their own medication from a pharmacy and have a dispensing license, you will tick the Dispensing Practice box. Tick the Use RSA ID Validation box to enable the function that will validate a patient's ID number before their file can be saved on the system. Enable Express Data on Booking will enable saving the details of the patient on the booking directly as a debtor in the system. Please note that this setting can be overwritten by the same setting under the User Entity Settings tab. The No setting will not enable the Express Data on a booking. The Normal setting will enable the Express Data on a booking. The Mid-Air setting is created for an airlift client, thus we will continue to the next setting. The Switch Connection Timeout will set the timeout, measured in seconds, for when a claim is being sent to the medical aid. After the timeout, the claim needs to be sent again. Tick the Send Out Patient Survey after each posted invoice box to have a patient survey sent to the patient after posting the patient's invoice. Take note that you need to set up your custom patient survey under the Workflow Event Templates panel, which is also found under the Entity Settings tab. The Enable Payment Request setting will enable your practice to send out payment requests to patients via SMS and/or email. The Request Payment on Account Update setting triggers a payment request if there was an update in the debtor/patient's account. The Process Payment Request Immediately setting will send out payment requests immediately after the debtor/patient has been billed. The Notify Payment Request by SMS setting will send out the payment request with a text message to the patient's cell phone number. The SMS Payment Request Template setting is where you can select a single payment request SMS template that has been set up in your Workflow Event Templates. The Notify Payment Request by Email setting will send out the payment request with an email to the patient's email address. The Email Payment Request Template setting is where you can select a single payment request email template that has been set up in your Workflow Event Templates. With a maximum number of days to display on multi-day view setting, you can set the diary to display a certain number of days on the multi-day view. For more information about the diary types, please refer to the user manual link listed in the video's description. The Exclude credit note on audit statement setting will not display credit notes on the statement that was on a debtor. The automatically apply patient authorization to invoices setting will automatically display the authorization number on the invoice when authorization was completed. The authorization number that has been added onto the patient's account will be pulled through, thus automatically displaying the number on the patient's invoices. The clinical print header will display on your clinical forms. You can upload an image here with the practice details and logo. Regarding the size of the clinical header, ensure that its width is 1680 pixels and its height is 480 pixels. The logo on statement will be displayed on statements. You can upload an image here. The entity logo will display in the top left corner of the main page/diary. You can upload an image here. Regarding both the logo sizes, ensure that you upload a quality image and the system will auto-adjust the size accordingly. The Activate CCA setting will enable the credit control assistant to use the debt management in the practice. Your FCL will do the setup if you want to use the CCA. You can select what users must have access to which diaries. You can tick or untick if users must only have access to certain diaries in the practice. Select the cash ledgers that will be available in the cash register session. You can set up different cash registers, such as cash register 1 to 5. This setup is done through the GoodX web portal. Please contact your FCL to assist you with your cash register setup. You can activate the different cash book types in every cash register, such as card, cash, electronic, corrections, petty cash, check, and bank. You can choose the different payment types such as cash, check, card, electronic, etc., which are the payment options that the practice accepts from patients. Click on the green Enable button if you want to disable the payment type, of which the green button will turn red. Click on the red Disabled button if you want to enable the payment type, of which the red button will turn green. The Send Batch SyncVite will send a batch invite to all patients that has been invoiced in the last 2 years to join MyGrant Central. You can choose whether the SyncVite contact method is done via SMS and/or email in your Grant Central settings panel under the Diary Settings tab. Once you're done, click on the Save button to save the new settings. Otherwise, click on the Close button to exit the settings window without saving.